Hello YouTubers, welcome back to my channel. So in this video, we will be adding grass and other objects in our scene. But before we get started, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss out my realistic game development tutorials. And guess what? Once we wrap up this series, I'll be sharing the complete project files with you. So make sure you hit that bell icon to be first in line to grab the exclusive project files. Okay, so let's start adding grass on our terrain. So to add grass, we will be using a add-on, and the add-on is provided from this guy. Alright, so we'll just download the zip files. So I have already downloaded it. I'll not be doing it again. Okay, so once you download it, open it up, open the folder, and we'll copy the complete add-on folder and we will paste it in our project file. Alright, we have pasted the add-on in our main root project file, and now let's enable it. So to enable it, go to project settings. In the plugins option, you will see the name of the add-on, the author, its version, and the status will be disabled. So just enable it and close it. So now we have enabled the add-on, and let's start collecting the assets. Alright. So I have downloaded assets from many different sites, but I will be providing the complete asset folder in my GitHub repo, so you can find all the assets over there. So these assets are just for educational purpose and nothing else. Alright, so the assets are from mainly Sketchfab and these sites, and the grass textures are from online. So I don't remember the exact link of that, but I have provided you 2 to 3 links. Okay, so to follow up the tutorial, just go ahead in code section, download the zip. So I have already downloaded it. I will open it up and you will see all the folders over here. So we have 5 assets: small rock, grass, flower, big rock, bark, and not the repo images. Okay, so we will copy all the 5. Again, let's go back to our project main root folder and we will paste it here. So once you paste it, let the Godot enable the importing. So once we have imported all the files, let's begin to add grass on our terrain. Okay, so to add the add-on plugin, select the main root node and then add simple grass texture, and let's rename it to grass 1. So now we need to paint our grass on this mesh, but currently our mesh doesn't have any collisions. So let's quickly add collision to our mesh. So we will even rename our mesh to terrain and then go to mesh, create try mesh static body. So this adds collision to our terrain so that we can paint our grass on the terrain. Okay, so we'll select the grass, and now you can see we have few options over here and even in the inspector section. So these are basically draw fill arrays. We have our controlling radius option, we have density, we have scale and rotation, the randomizer, and the last option is the distance between 2 grasses. Alright, so mainly we will be playing with the density and the proportion. Okay, so let's start. So if you see in the inspector section, we have a mesh option. So this mesh we can assign our grass object. So this object is provided from the GitHub. Alright, so let's open it up, and if you paint it, you can see the size is very large. So we'll scale the size. So we have 2 options here, scale height and scale width. So I'll make it 0.02. Alright, so let's even change the variation. So if you paint the grass, you can see all the grasses are of the same height. So we'll change the height to be 0.2. Yes, 0.2 or 0.3 is fine. And let's quickly erase all this because we want our custom grass texture and not the default which is provided by the add-on. Alright, so to add custom grass texture, go to the grass folder and we'll be adding this grass texture. So just drag and drop in the texture albedo, and if you paint now, you can see we have custom grass texture. And if you scroll down in the inspector, we have many more options, such as you can add your normal map, metallic, roughness. You can even turn on the optimization. So optimization will be mainly used if you have a large open world terrain, so you can enable it so that your game performs well, and height map data, and we don't play with the other option. All right. Okay, so I guess we should increase our radius and start painting the grass. I think the grass is quite high, so you need to play around with your grass and make sure that it suits your scene. Basically, this requires a few practicing and few tweakings so that it looks very good, and also make sure that you don't add too much of grass, because again, if you add too much of grass, then performance goes very low, so you have to balance both of them. But if you start practicing the adding grass option, then you will master it once. You'll be adding 2 to 3 grass variations. So if you feel it's very low or grass particles are very less, no issues, we'll be adding 2 more grass variations, so then it will be fine. Okay, so let me give you a tip to add much more realism for your grass. So currently you can see at the corners the grass is of same size, so you can select your grass and you can change the scale value to be a lesser one, so for an example 0.7, and you can simply paint it over the edges so that you can have a slope effect of your grass and your grass doesn't vanish directly. So this is just for showing, and I will remove these small grasses for now, but you can add it to make more realism. Okay, so let's add the second grass. So to add second grass, again add a simple grass texture node and rename it to grass 2. Alright, and this time again, if you add the same mesh, then everything is gonna glitch up. So we'll select the first node and we make sure it's unique, so we just make unique, and we do the same thing for our mesh, make unique. And then when we select the second grass, we can easily assign our mesh. Again, the meshes are same for all of the 3. The only difference is we have different textures. So this time I will be adding this second one, and if I paint, again the size is quite large, so let's scale it down, and even the variation to be 0.2. I guess 0.2 is fine. Let's erase the grass from here and let's start painting it. So the lighting setup and post-processing work will be shown in another tutorial. So doing post-processing will add life to your scene, so make sure you are tuned to it. Okay, so once you finish your grass 2, it's time to add grass 3. So let's add the simple grass texture and rename it to grass 3. And again, make sure you select the grass 2 and make it unique. Do the same thing for your texture. Now select grass 3 and load the mesh. And this time we will assign the last texture and let's paint. So now you can see the size is very large, so let's scale it down. You can see the grass is very different from both of them. So this grass is only for making your scene look a bit real and nothing else. So this is just, you can say it's a decoration. Alright, and this time the density will be very low. I guess 6 is fine with a huge radius. Okay, you can see the size is matching, but we don't need the same size with the other grasses. So let's increase the size. Okay, 0.4 is, I guess it's high, so we will decrease it to 0.3. Okay, I think this is fine. And the last thing is adding wind effect. So if you change the grass strength, okay, so this scale is very low. I guess that's the reason why it's not animating the grass, but we can try to tweak the wind parameters over here. Now you can see the grass is slightly moving. Let's do the same thing for grass 1 and 2. So we decrease the grass strength, and you can see the grass slowly starts moving. Alright, so this is just a basic grass placement, and I'm not expert in placing grass, but I hope you get the idea. And the last thing is we need to even place the rocks along the corners. And to place the rock, again we need to make sure the grass tree is unique, make unique, and even the texture make unique. This will be our small rocks, you can say small stones, whatever you want. And let's assign a mesh, so it's here, open, and our texture will be load small rock, open it up, and let's place. Alright, you can see even our rock is now moving, and we don't want wind animation for our rocks, so we increase the grass strength so that it doesn't move. And let's decrease the grass height and width. Yes, 0.2 is fine. And grass variation to be 0.7, and we'll change the height, scale height and scale width to 0.15. Alright, let's erase it up, and let's again draw, but this time we'll again decrease the density. Okay, I guess the scale variation is high, and this is fine. You can add multiple rocks if you want, but I'll be just adding a single layer of rock. And that's it for the grass and stone placements. And now let's add flowers. So I'll be adding flowers in a different way. So in my scene, I will just create 2 to 3 instances of flowers, but if you have an open world terrain, then you can use the add-on. But for my case, I'll not be using the add-on. Alright, so let's add a node 3D, and we will rename it to be flowers. Next we will add a mesh instance, and this one we will rename it to be flower 1. Alright, so in the mesh property, let's load our flower mesh. Alright, so you can see currently there is no material assigned to a flower. And if you open up the surface material override, you will see we have 3 sections for the materials. And if you open up the texture, then you can see we have a single texture. So what we need to do is we need to assign the single texture to all of the 3. So doing it manually again and again takes a lots of time, and in case if you change the single property, then you need to go ahead and change all of the 3. So this is very time consuming, and it's a very bad practice. So what we will do is we will create a single material, and we will assign the material to all of the 3 slots. Alright, so let's create the material. For albedo, let's drag and drop the albedo texture. Alright, next we will use the normal map. Okay, and in the transparency mode to be depth prepass, the cull mode to be disabled. Okay, so that's it for the material. So now let's save the material. So we will save it in our flower folder, and we will rename it to be flower material. Alright, so now you can see we have saved our material. Now you can just drag and drop the material to the other slots. Alright, so now for an example, if you change the material over here, the other parts of the flower will be affected, so no need to go and change it manually. So let's add the emission. We will click on emission enabled, and we will drag and drop our again texture for the emission. And now you can see all of the other properties are affected. We just change the single material resource, and it's automatically updated in the mesh. So let's add the energy multiplier to be 0.5. I guess this is fine. So the material has been assigned. So now let's place our flowers in our scene. Now you can see we have a distraction of the collision, so let's disable the collision shape for now. And we don't need collision shape for now, so the work for the collision has been over because we added our grass. I guess the size is little low, so we can even increase the size. Right, I think 1.2 is good. So let's place the flowers now. You can press Ctrl D for duplication. I guess this is fine now. So we added 4 instances of the flowers, and for variations you can just change the scale so that we will have a bit variation from the other. Alright, so that's it for the flowers. Next we will go ahead and we will add rocks to our scene. So we will follow the same step as we did for the flower. So let's add in node 3D and rename it to rock, and we'll do a little different over here. So let's create a new scene for our rock. Alright, so now you can see we have this object of our rock, so we'll drag and drop in our scene tree, and let's rename the root node to be rock. And currently you can see the material is already pre-assigned, so you no need to assign the material for the rock. And let's save the scene. So we will save our scene in this rock folder, and let's jump back to our main scene. Okay, so let's add the rock scene over here. So to add rock scene, press Ctrl Shift A, search for rock, and you can see the rock is visible in our scene. So let's place the rock in our scene. You can see the size of the rock is low, so let's change it. I guess 1.5 is good. Setting up the rock and other things is basically depends on your taste, so how you feel it, how you want your scene to look. Okay, so let's duplicate the rock now. So press Ctrl D to duplicate, and let's place the rock at few different places. I guess 4 is fine, and let's also turn it. Okay, so now what I want is I want to scale the rock in just the x-axis, and I don't want the y and z axis to be affected. So we can just unlock the single scale value. So once you're comfortable with the value, again you can lock the axis, and now everything will be changed accordingly. Okay, so let's even add a few smaller rocks because a single rock doesn't look good at a single place. Right, so that's it for the rock placement, and in the next we will add bark to our scene. So again the same process. Let's add in node 3D, rename it to bark. Alright, and then let's add a mesh instance, and this one let's rename it to be bark1, and let's assign the bark mesh, the wood1 obj. Let's add again the mesh instance, and this one will be our bark2. Not arc, it's bark. All right, so let's again add the mesh. This one will be our second object. We will do the same step once more. And let's add material for our barks. So we'll select the first bark. In the surface override material, let's add material. Let's add normal map. Select the second bark. And at last, select the third bark. And it's time to place bark on our scene. So we'll select the first bark and we'll place it over here. Let's change the scale a bit. I guess the rotation is fine, no need to change much. Alright, and I guess these rocks are coming in between the seams, so we'll just drag them to a bit right. Okay, so then we will select this one. And let's place it near this rock so that the bark is, lying on the rock. Let's even change the scale. Okay, I want this bark to be a bit fatter, so let's unlock the X, Y, and Z axis. Let's again lock it down. I guess this is fine, or let's even rotate a bit. Okay, this is fine. And the third one, what we'll do is we will add this as the pieces of this bark, so which means that this bark has been cut down into pieces and the pieces fell on the ground. Let's even duplicate this one more. This is the last one, I guess, and let's place it here. See, if you want to add collisions to any of your mesh, then simply you can select a particular mesh. For an example, if I select this one and I want a collision for this, then you can just go ahead and select mesh and create static body 3D. So this adds a collision, but I am not currently doing any player thing, so I just created a simple scene. So that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we will add trees and ferns. Thank you guys for watching my tutorial. If you have any questions, comment me below. Do like the tutorial, do comment, do subscribe, and always have a great day.